Hey friends, it's Corey from Hey Let's Make Stuff, and today's video is all about the Sawgrass SG500 sublimation printer. If you've been around my YouTube and my blog for any length of time, you'll know that I do a lot of sublimation. And up until now, I've been using a converted Epson printer. So basically a regular EcoTank printer where I've put sublimation ink inside the printer. And that worked pretty well for me, except I have had my eyes on getting a sublimation specific printer for a while. One of my favorite distributors is Heat Transfer Warehouse, and a few months ago they had an event in Fargo, North Dakota. So I got on a plane and I went to North Dakota and I met with their team, and the Sawgrass team was also there. I chatted with them about the sublimation I've been doing, and they offered to send me this printer. And while they did send me this printer, as always, all opinions and everything are my own. So if you're new to sublimation, sublimation is basically a process of printing something out with sublimation ink and then using high heat to transfer it to a blank. So for instance, you can make these glass tumblers, which I think are really cool. You can make mugs, you can make all sorts of apparel like this cute little onesie. There are so many projects you can make with sublimation. So let's talk a little bit about this printer. It is a sublimation specific printer, meaning that it was purpose-built to do just sublimation. You can't also use this as your regular inkjet printer. This is specifically for sublimation. Now, if this was another sort of machine tutorial, the next thing I would do is tell you how to set up your machine. But I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I didn't do it. One of the benefits of getting a Sawgrass printer is that you have access to their customer support team. Once you buy your printer, you can go onto the Sawgrass website and sign up for a time to meet with a customer support agent. They do it through Zoom, but don't worry, you don't have to be on camera. And they actually take over your desktop so that they can do all the install. There will be some things you need to do using the control panel here, but I highly recommend this because as she was going through the install, I actually found it really confusing, and I thought, wow, if I had to do this on my own, that would have been difficult. There's the setting up of the printer, connecting it to Wi-Fi, and then there's also the installation of two types of software, Print Manager and Creative Studio. So whereas you technically can set it up yourself, I really recommend making an appointment with one of their reps because they can make sure that it's set up perfectly and that you won't have any issues. So this printer obviously looks like most standard desktop printers, right? We have the paper tray here in the bottom, and here's where you're going to put your sublimation paper. This is the True Pix paper from Sawgrass, but I'll be honest, I've used probably half a dozen types of sublimation paper and they all work pretty well. So you can put whatever paper you'd like in here. There's a little thing here to catch the paper as it comes out. Then there's the control panel here at the top. It's very similar to other control panels. There's not too much here that's different. And then over here on the side is your ink. Now your ink cartridges are sort of tall and narrow, and then below that there's something that a normal inkjet printer doesn't have, and that is a waste tank. So one of the best things about this printer that I have found is that it runs an automatic cleaning cycle. And if you have a converted printer, you know that the ink can get clogged very easily. And that's because the formulation of sublimation ink, it's just a little thicker and it dries out in a different way. So if you have a converted printer, you need to print really often so that your ink doesn't get clogged. I've learned this the hard way. I am on my second Epson printer because I could not for the life of me get the magenta unclogged on my first one. Tried every trick in the book, couldn't get it to work. I'm on my second printer. The Sawgrass, however, runs an automatic cleaning cycle, which is awesome. But that does mean that it does use a little bit of ink during every cleaning cycle. It basically pushes a little bit of ink through the heads to keep them from getting clogged. That extra ink is then collected in the waste tank. Let's actually talk about that ink. So of course it's sublimation ink, but there are actually two types of ink that you can get with this printer. The first is Sublijet ink, and that is the ink that this printer has used for a very long time. It creates bright, vivid transfers, and it comes with a lot of the printers. And then in the last couple of years, they also created Easy Subli inks, which are designed to work with Caesar's Easy Subli transfers. So it does all of the regular sublimation printing. You can print and put it on basically anything polyester or poly-coated, but it also has a special drying agent in the ink that allows it to work really well with the Caesar Easy Subli transfer. Now an Easy Subli transfer is basically a material that you print on, and then you can use it on cotton, dark fabrics, anything that's not polyester and a light color, which means that you can use these inks for a much wider range of projects. So I got the Easy Subli inks, and if you want to do things like cotton and that sort of thing, I would recommend these inks as well. With printer ink comes color management. Now, if you've used a converted printer, you know that color management can be a huge pain. Basically, your printer doesn't understand that it has sublimation ink in it, so it tries to render the color based on the regular ink, and you can get all sorts of weird shifts in color, like your pinks are too orange or your teals are too blue, that sort of thing. The good thing about a sublimation specific printer like this is that the color management is built in. So say goodbye to trying to figure out your own ICC profiles or changing all of your color settings. It does it all automatically within this machine, which is a huge benefit, especially if you're really struggling with your color. Okay, let's make a project using this printer. We are working on a little library in our house, so I'm going to make a little sign that says read more books. And to do that, I'm using this aluminum panel that has been coated for sublimation. This is kind of a fun blank that I don't see people using a lot, but they work really well for making cute little signs and stuff for your home. So you'll need your panel or whatever else you're going to use. You'll need some heat resistant tape. You'll need a lint roller, and you'll need heat resistant gloves and some butcher paper. You're also going to need a heat press. So as I was getting ready for this video, I went to turn my heat press on and it won't turn on, and I'm not really sure why. So I'm actually going to use my Cricut auto press. Now, I will be honest, I do not find that the auto press does these sort of hard blanks quite as well as it does soft blanks. So we're just going to give it a shot and see how it goes. Hopefully it goes okay. But before all that, we need to print our image. So here I am on my desktop. I have a Mac, so these are Mac instructions, but I'm gonna go looking and see if I can find PC instructions for you as well, because I know not everybody has a Mac. But if you go up here to PM, which is Print Manager, it'll give you these options here. Now for this simple project, I'm just gonna open a local file, and I'm gonna search in my files here, in my downloads, for this image that says read more books. When you click it, it will then upload it into the Print Manager here. Here in this screen, you'll see a bunch of tabs. So first here is material. I'm going to select metal because I'm using metal. The print quality is always high quality. They always just have this TruePix paper selected, and I only have one tray on my machine. And then here it's automatically set to mirror. You definitely want to mirror your project if you are sublimating so that it will read the correct way. On the next screen, you'll see the layout, and here you'll have a couple different options. When I was chatting with the Sawgrass customer service lady, she said that in most cases you kind of want to choose this Print Manager Performs layout. This allows you to make other selections. So here I've got my paper size, which is just standard paper. It sometimes will not center your project, but I prefer to have it centered. If you don't have to. You can keep it over here on the side, and there are ways to add other images here to, so you don't waste paper. But for this one, I'm just going to center it so that it's in the center of our thing here. The jobs panel just shows you the images that you're using, but it also gives you the chance to change the width and height of your image. So this, you don't really want to make your image too much bigger because it could get pixelated. So you want to make sure you're using an image that's a good size for your project, but you can always make it smaller. So I was going to do a different image on this, and it was about 14 inches across, and the Print Manager was like, oh no, it's too big. But just come in here and change the width and the height, and they will change proportionally, and then you'll be able to see your project. If you want to mess with the color, there is a color tab here. You can choose your color mode, photographic or vivid, and then you can make some small color adjustments with these sliders. I've not found that necessary yet because it really does have good color management, but I do feel like if maybe you're printing a photo like of your dog or family, you may want to be able to play with these settings a little bit more. And that's pretty much it. So go ahead and hit print, and your printer will print your project. Before you do anything with your image, you're going to want to lint roll your panel here. This basically removes any dust and debris, which can, when heated to high enough heat, can actually sublimate onto your panel, and you definitely don't want that. So here is our image, and you can see that it's reversed just like we need it to be, and now we're going to tape it to our panel. Now this image is not centered on this paper. Well, it is, but the words are not, because there's quite a bit more plant over here than there is on this side. So I'm basically just gonna eyeball it. I've not really found a good way to figure out how to center things. But I can sort of see through the paper, so I can see about where I'm putting it on the panel here. And I'm just cheating it a little bit to the left so that the words themselves are in the middle. And then you can use your heat resistant tape to basically tape the panel to the paper. Now I'm going to head over and put this on my AutoPress. I'm going to put a piece of butcher paper on the top and the bottom, and I'm going to press it at 400 for 80 seconds. We'll see how that goes. I haven't done one of these in my AutoPress. One of the other things I'm doing in my AutoPress, which you'll see when I record a little bit over there, is that I have used a different mat in the bottom. I've found when I'm doing these sort of harder blanks, I need a more sturdy mat than the one that comes with my AutoPress. So I actually have a wool pressing mat that's very stiff, so I put that in there. I'll go ahead and link that down below so that you can kind of see, but I do think that that makes the AutoPress do these sort of flat blanks a little bit better. Are you ready? Okay, so here we have it. It turned out so cute. This is going to be adorable in our library. The Cricut AutoPress killed it. This looks really great. I feel like I've done other tiles and slates and things like that, and it doesn't do them quite as well, but this, fabulous. The color on this is perfect. It looks exactly like the image that I uploaded. It is bright, it's vivid, and I had to do no color management, which after dealing with my Epson for so long was a complete dream. So very happy with how this turned out. And that is my overview of the Sawgrass SG500. I have quite a bit more planned for this machine. I definitely want to do a comparison between this and my Epson because there are lots of differences and not every printer is right for everybody, and I want to be able to help you make the decision that's right for you. If you have any questions about this printer, please leave them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them. If you found this video helpful, I would really appreciate a like, and as always, subscribe to this channel for more weekly crafty content. I will see you next week.